So there was an update to the map, which it didn't. I don't even know if it was more than just the gates that needed a new save, and if it wasn't, making the gates be open wouldn't have taken that much. But I know that at least that was a new save, so I just did the whole new save anyway. It wasn't really mentioned in the description, but to have the gates open, I knew would need at least the placeables XML thing. So I did a new save and then changed all the XML stuff to be equal to the old save. Some of that is just putting in the XML. Some of it was editing the new XML. And then I had to come in and do things like the fields because that's not in the XML. So I just use power tools for that. It does mean that there are. So the hail that had previously hit the wheat field doesn't matter because all the fields were reset. There was hail this morning, which apparently hit our grass field up here. And I don't think that our other fields could really be damaged. It did not hit our wheat or barley field though. So those now are better. It also means that the fields were planted in August when a new save would have happened, but I didn't play through the months, so they're still set up as if it had been August. So things like this wheat field that is ready for harvest is just something. There are two new crops. There's alfalfa and mustard. I did add the moisture values in realistic weather, so mustard is set up to need the same moisture as grass. Or alfalfa is set up to need the same moisture as grass. Mustard is set to, I did a quick Google, and it's that drought resistant between wheat and canola. So I put that at the moisture required between wheat and canola. Not exactly a thing. I figured it would be a relatively decent amount. I did change the alfalfa slightly. So the way alfalfa was set up, it's almost a complete copy of grass. Doesn't need plowing, doesn't use lime. The same yield. The only difference besides visually, that has its own thing. But the only difference between it and grass, as far as the just tech stuff, was it did allow contracts, which I believe is allow planting contracts, and I changed that so that it's like grass, because I assume, although it is just an assumption, so I could totally wrong, but I assume that means they would continue to, the NPCs would continue to plant it, and because it regrows like grass, it would never change. So if you play the save long enough, every NPC owned field would eventually be alfalfa. I'm not sure. It's easy to change from true default, so I just did that. And I very slightly increased the yield. I think from about 15%. I forget exactly the amount of grass is, but it's 4.5 liters per square meter. And I changed alfalfa to be 5. So alfalfa is definitely a little bit better than grass, and I will likely get to planting our grass fields in alfalfa. I did have to I did want to do that thing where I extended this field to get that weird visual thing, which is why the roller's out, and I kept the roller out. I also, because I had the power tools, I'm done plowing 85. I was very close to done, so I just decided to put the whole field to plow and not get most of it plowed, and yeah. I think that's pretty much everything. Oh, I set the rollers out. So, well, I tried, but I could not add the manure we had back in. In fact, trying to add it back in really messed everything up, and I had to redo a couple things. So we just had to reset the manure part again. I don't remember manure being listed twice and as two capacities now, so I don't know what's up with that. But well, it's either splitting the manure. I guess I could check to see if it's splitting it. If there's 400 oh, actually, I think if we grab this and put the bucket on, that I can see the amount that could be tipped in, even if it can't hold the amount. Which should be much easier to do than getting out the tipper. I'm not even sure that would. Definitely don't feel like scooping up the manure to see. Oh. Maybe we need to get the tipper anyway, but we're gonna try the bucket. Oh, it does have a start filling. Okay, so it is the full amount. So it's not being split. There's just two different sections with different capacities. Well, I guess it could technically, so I don't know what that was testing. Yeah. So let's do this testing actually right. And so I know it says 461. So if we take out the 100 liters, that will, I don't know if we can just pour it right back in. And now we can see if it still says 460. Okay, so both of them did go to 361. So there we go. That's the better test. Now that might not have gone in, might still say 361, and then we just have a pile of 100 manure there. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, 463 now. So that just went right back in. So there is that we couldn't do. We only had like 20,000 liters of manure. We could just cheat it into. I just don't even care. It's not that much. I did try to add the silage we had back in, and it's another thing I could have just put heaps of it, but instead I cheated in the chaff, so now we have to ferment it again, which we did just feed the cows before the update. I think we fed them yesterday during the morning rain. So they have a decent amount of food, but they will likely need more before it's done fermenting, and we can either I I'm okay with this. It's kind of, you know, just the randomness of things going wrong on, you know, in real life type of thing. So that's it works for me. So we can either decide to go with 80% and just feed them hay, or we can spend some money and buy a couple bales of silage. And yeah, but I think those are the only things I couldn't really do. Was the manure, who cares, and the silage, which it'll get back up there. think I think that's it, and we're just ready to go on as if we were in the same save because we set it up to make it seem like we are. Which means we have field 20 to deal with and slurry to deal with. We have to deal with field 20 before we can deal with slurry because we want to spread slurry on that, and you can't spread any fertilizer on a field that is fully grown. So even though you can't harvest oilseed radish, it still is ready for harvest, so you can't put a fertilizer. So we have to plow it first. Oh, so there is also a jar of mustard, and I did actually go and get the changing the dairy and the farm cheeses to not share throughput. I forget the exact wordage used in the XML file, but I added that wordage. So it's actually a pretty good, like it's pretty lucrative, assuming that the price estimation on the prices screen is correct. So there is that I don't know if we would actually get to, but if we do end up getting extra milk that we want to start using, we can start using other lines, or eventually get other kind of milk producing animals to do those lines. Some of the updates include pedestrian changes, so they don't do the weird super slow-mo when they get to the other side of the street. And it does not appear that the cars have the super backup for seemingly no reason. So that's exciting. This is something. It happens when you're on the street, when the plow's all folded too. They won't go because they see a plow near them. Yeah, I don't know exactly what implements, but I know it's not just plow. Which that actually wasn't too terrible because I could have been backing up towards them. It's still a little much, but it could have happened. But we want to change the time. But it happens even when you're driving, when it's folded up and obviously not in use, and you are in your lane, the other lane traffic will still stop. This includes traffic going the other direction and traffic going to pass you. They will not pass you because they get near you in the other lane and stop because there's the plow in the way. Even though it's not in the way. It's nothing to do with this map. This has nothing to do with the update to the map. The update to the game started that. It happens on, like, when I'm driving my planter in Beulah Land and such. Now I know there was, I assume there is still, but I haven't really come across it because I haven't played with anything that put there was modded header trailers or whatever that I used in 22 that had it backwards. So the header would be faced to the left instead of to the right, and because it was faced to the left, it was faced towards the other lane. So traffic would stop because the header is coming towards them, and therefore a combine is coming towards them, and they had to stop to wait for maneuvering. Yeah. So I don't know if it's something like that, where it's just programmed a little bit wonky, and it thinks the plow is coming towards them, which is why it kind of made sense for them to stop when I was, yeah. But it's kind of annoying and sad and such when you're driving on the road with it. Obviously, I am plowing at a weird angle so that my furrows will be straight, because you have to do it at one of the, well, if not cardinal directions, it has to be a variable of 45, or 45 has to be a factor, however that is worded. Or you'd have to use the lines. I haven't even really looked. There's probably a multi-angle thing, but I don't know if you have to set the map up to work with it. But this works. It's not terribly weird. And I just want plowing to be plowing instead of basically cultivation, but slower, like you would have with the lines. We're gonna go with the slightly weird 225 and 45-degree angles. See, look, they don't do that with super slow-mo. We have made it to the flat or straight edge over here, which is where it's going to be, well, one, the longest rows until we finish the straight edge over on the other side. But it's also going to be awkward because there's not a lot of space, and there is another field at the end of that, not a lot of space. I mean, I guess the other edge doesn't have a lot of space and there's a road at the edge, but it doesn't feel as terrible. Even though I've been trying not to use the road. Just trying to straighten this line up just a bit because it got way off the 45 to 25, and well, I don't want it to be that far off. Okay, we're going to be finishing off this corner. I don't think it will finish off this edge. I think on the way down we'll have to come down a little further than the straight edge. Just none of these. Yeah, I was thinking that would happen. It was close though. So. But yeah, none of these edges are on the right angle. So they actually came very close to finishing that. Much closer than I expected. So while that one isn't going to need to be cleaned up on the headland, it is going to need to go just a little bit further on my my path going the other way. But we have now made it to the shorter half of the field, which of course means it's not really half of the field. But width-wise, we're about halfway on that. So there's that. Okay, we've gotten to the point where it's still going to be a full row the next time, but it will be ending the full row. It'll be the last full. So I guess this is a good way of saying it. I think we can go across that. Yeah. And that will be done. I think that the opposite side there is the only one that's going to need multiple passes on the headland. Yeah, and then this is, but we do still have a little bit of the row, but we're going to come out to here, I think, and that should get the edge over here, and then we'll just have to go back through on the headland or into the furrow we're just making now, which isn't at the best angle, but it won't matter for one. It just pulls too much to do that for the whole field. Let's see about getting this last. Is that, yeah, that made it all the way to the edge. This last row here. Now we can get in this furrow. Get pulled and very slow because of the angle it's at, or partially because of that anyway. But it will finish up this field, and then it will be ready to have a slurry spread on it, which we will not get to today. Because even if there is time to do that, we also want to sell the rest of the slurry, and that there would not be time for that. So if we were to lease the slurry tanker, we would then have to pay the overnight cost, which wouldn't actually be that much. Like the daily cost is actually a monthly cost because reasons. And we're planning on 5-day months, so it'd only be a fifth of that. By the way, if you didn't know what the reasons were, it was 22 originally. The month and day were going to be the same. With you couldn't actually select it. It wasn't until there was community outcry that they changed it so that you would be able to change how many days are in a month. But they didn't change every instance of daily in names to monthly. So they mean the same thing. And they just kept that for 25, which makes it very awkward when there is changes between games, because you get used to them not doing changes like that between games. Like, there's still people that think you have to plow after every 3 harvests, even though that was changed, I believe, the very next version of the game. So I think it was 17 that they added periodic plowing. So you had to plow every 3 times. In 19, they added lime, and that was a periodic, and they changed plowing to be after certain crops instead of periodic. And there's been so it was not in the game for very long that you had to plow every 3. If I have that wrong, then it was at most 2 versions of the game with periodic plowing, but I'm not sure. Close that door. But either way, It has been a while since that was changed, and there's still articles and videos and tutorials that will talk about having to plow every 3 times when it's after basically all the vegetables and after corn. I think after sunflowers as well, and sugarcane. Although I'm pretty sure sugarcane does not require a plow, like it doesn't increase the yield, so it's okay. I mentioned that because sugarcane is something you can. Oh, I actually meant to drop the whole thing, not pick up the part thing. Sugarcane is something you can get multiple harvests off of one planting. But the first harvest will mean that it needs plowing stage is set. But I'm pretty sure that plowing isn't something sugarcane itself needs, so it doesn't mean the other harvests you can get will have less. Don't quote me on it. It's been a long time since I did anything with sugarcane. I have been thinking about doing some sugarcane, not on this one though. But we still have a bit of time, so I figured we can bring this up to 85 and get 85 rolled. And this tractor should be able to do it fine. The roller doesn't need a whole lot of horsepower. It is the steep field. But I probably should have gotten the weight on the front, but too late now. Didn't think of it. Yeah, roller is also one of the ones. I wonder if it's all the implements. I know it doesn't do it if you don't have anything towed. Oh, I should go down the other side. That way I know I go down the steepest section. So I think we'll go up this and then we'll go down the outside just to make sure. But if we had done that the last time, we wouldn't have to worry because we would be making sure we're always going down this currently steepest side when we could have came up the one we went down last time, which would have been better. I hope there's not any stones in that corner. We obviously are not rolling seeds in, so it doesn't matter if we miss spots as long as we get every spot with stones on it. But I mean, you can see it on the map. Of course it is. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any on that corner, so we'll be fine. There is some on that corner though, but we can get it on our way back. Should just need to go up. It looks like we got all of that, and we'll have to get that corner down there. Look, that's gone. I'm pretty sure it wasn't where my tractor is. We're actually gonna leave this over here. But we're going to want this tractor because of the hours on it, that we can do our slurry spreading with this and get hours on this tractor instead of the other one who has like, yeah, 2 extra hours. Because, I mean, actually this one probably would have been okay on the plow. But we're definitely going to need the Atco for the seeder, or the planter, I mean. But I'm pretty sure this can do just fine with the slurry spreader tomorrow. And I think that's all we're waiting for. So we're done with the day. Can we see when? Okay, we can't see when the tornado's coming. Now I don't know, that might be one tornado that just comes in the middle of the night, so it's on 2 days, or there might be 2 tornadoes. But if it's during the day tomorrow, it's only an hour long on an odd hour. I guess we are only like 5 minutes away from an odd hour, so we will stay till then so we can check the forecast again. Should also see how much the cows do go through. Well, there's 9, so yes, still can't see the tornado, so it's coming after 7. I think it only showed till 6 on the even hours. Sorry to sneeze. So it's looking pretty likely that it's one tornado coming in the middle of the night. And cows went through 2,000 for the last 12 hours, so 4,000 a day. So they have 2 days worth of food. Not an exact amount, but about 2 days worth of food. And we have like 4 or 5 days until the silage is ready, so might be able to get away with just one feeding with bot bales, or about the same amount of hay, depending on which one we want to go with. We could just turn that off. But I think that's it for the day then.